The religious grandfather wakes up his religious grandson and says, wake up, you're late for the minyan. You're going to miss the minyan. You got to go to shul. He said, why? He said, because you have to be, you have to do the mitzvah. You have to go daven. You have to put on tefillin. You have to. Why? You want to go to hell? If you don't, oh, here come the threats. Doesn't work. We have gotten the picture upside down, completely upside down. Here's the picture. God created the world. God is perfect. He knows everything. He can do everything. He's all-powerful, almighty, all-knowing. He is perfect. So he couldn't care less. What does he need? Nothing. But we have needs. We are so dependent. We are so needy. We are so fragile. We are so helpless by ourselves that we need to get down on our knees and plead with God and beg him to be nice to us. Maybe he'll do you a favor. And if not, well, then you're just going to suffer. What a pretty picture, no? Can't wait to wake up in the morning for this. No, it's a horrible, horrible picture. How did we ever buy it? How did we ever accept this? So let's see. God is perfect. God is not affected by anything. He is invulnerable. He doesn't care. Nothing bothers him. Nothing. Oh, but if you don't behave yourself, he will get you. You can run, but you can't hide. He'll get you. For what? For doing what he told you not to do. Oh, does he care? No, he doesn't care. Doesn't make a difference to him. So what am I doing? What's going on? Now, this God who doesn't really particularly care and can't be bothered, who only gets angry at you if you misbehave and punishes you severely, this God you must love with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. I mean, adding abuse to abuse. Now I feel guilty that I don't love him. So I have only one choice left. Stop believing in him. That's it. I mean, I got to get rid of him. I can't live like this. So the religious grandfather who says to his religious grandson, you have to get up and daven with a minyan. You have to keep kosher. You have to keep Shabbos. I do? I need this? I don't think so. Oh, yes, you do. You have to. I don't think so. I thought about it, and I've come to the conclusion that I don't need this. Oh, you're going to burn in hell. Thanks. If you start to threaten me, then obviously you have nothing more to say. So I'm right. See, there's something happening that is very positive, although it doesn't look so positive. All over the world, people are saying, I didn't ask to be born. Children are saying it. So why'd you have me? If we had known it was you. Why'd you have me? I didn't ask to be born. So true. And who was saying this? Not children who are severely depressed, just children who are thinking. Because if you stop and think for a moment, did you ask to be born? Do you remember signing some kind of contract or something? Oral agreement? Anything? Do you remember promising to put on tefillin? You remember committing to keeping kosher? You remember promising to marry Jewish? You made no such commitment. You don't ask to be born Because you don't need to be born. I've never heard anyone complain that they weren't born. Hey, what about me? Nobody ever said that. We don't need to be born. We don't need to be born. But I need to go to school. No, I don't. But I need to have a house. I need love. No, I don't. I don't. I really don't. I don't need anything. I mean, if I don't need to be born, case closed. Well, I didn't need to be born, but now that I'm born, I have a whole list of things. It's making me crazy because it's a lie. I don't need. I don't need. Let's go so far as, well, what about eating? You need to eat. Actually, I need to stop eating. I really do. It's not easy. So do I need to eat? No, I don't. It's a lie. If you say I need to eat, you are lying because it's not your need. You never asked for it. You don't want it. You don't agree with it most of the time. If I designed myself, would I be dependent on food? Would I design myself like some cheap car that has to be filled with gas every 3 hours? What a rotten plan. If I designed myself, I would need to sleep away half my life? What kind of plan is this? So if you ask me, do I need to sleep? No, I need to get things done. But I can't, I'm tired. Who did this to me? Who did this to me? Strange story in the Gemara. The sage is riding down the road on his donkey, and there's a guy on the side of the road, and the sage stops and says, "You are the ugliest person I've ever seen." And the man said, "Well, don't complain to me. Complain to my maker." And he wasn't so ugly after that. This was the first time the man admitted to having a creator. And why did he admit it? Because otherwise he considered himself a self-made man. I did it my way. Oh yeah? So you made yourself ugly? Well, no, I didn't do that. That was imposed on me. So complain to my maker. Well, who imposed eating on you? Who imposed sleeping on you? Who made you so vulnerable that you actually have to breathe all the time? You didn't do this to yourself. You would never do this to yourself. So you need to eat? Not true. Stop lying. You have a handicap with which you were born, not your idea, not your choice, not even with your agreement. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. God created the universe and continues to create it every moment, keeping it in existence because it can't exist by itself. So he is creating us at this very moment, paying attention to every tiny detail. Everything is by divine plan, by divine purpose, by divine will, every little detail. And you know what? He doesn't care. Try this again. He doesn't care. The creator of the world does not care about his own creation. Try again. Makes sense. This is absurd. It turns out that the only being in the universe who is entitled to need is the creator. If it's your universe, you're entitled to need certain things from your universe. So, do I need to be religious? If I start telling myself that I need to be religious, I am headed for a depression. Because every need I attribute to myself is a lie. It is unnatural. I have no needs. And if I walk around thinking I have a need, I am making myself crazy. Because it's not true. So here's what it all boils down to. We have freedom of choice. Since we ate from the tree of knowledge, we have an option. We have to make a choice. And the choices are to be needy and feel your own needs, or to be needed and to serve a purpose. That's it. That's your only real choice. The rest is just playing games. Well, I get to live in whatever house I choose. No, you don't. This woman says, I can marry any man. Right? No? Come on, freedom of choice. I can choose. I can marry any man I choose. Okay, so let's say there are 3.5 billion men. Can you marry any one of them? Yeah. Well, not really. Because you have to meet them first. When are you going to meet 3.5 billion men? Where do you have time for this? There aren't enough weekends. Okay, so no, not 3.5 billion, but 4. I can choose between any one of these 4 who I have met. Yeah, well, 2 of them are married. Okay, so the other 2, I can choose either one of them. Well, not really, because one of them doesn't want to marry you. Whoa, we've come down a long way. There's one guy who's willing to marry you. You're going to marry him or not? Freedom of choice. You don't have freedom of choice. Which house are you going to buy? The one you want to buy? You can't afford that house. So where is our freedom of choice? Freedom of choice is, do you want to feel needy? You want to attend to your needs? Physical, emotional, spiritual, all your needs? Or do you prefer to be needed? Do you need to call your mother, or does your mother need you to call her? Look at how disturbed life has become. My mother needs me to call her? Such a pain in the neck. Why don't you leave me alone? That's how most people feel. Get my mother off my back. She has her needs. Well, why should I suffer? I got my own problems. Uh-huh. Yeah, you do. Imagine that you didn't have your own problems and your only issue in life was your mother. You would be so blessed. You would be so healthy, and you would have such a happy mother. What could be better? So we turned it upside down. Every time we are told we are needed, we thought that was a threat, a burden, a curse. Let's try this. Turn it upside down. I need nothing. It's not my universe. I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be created. I don't need anything. So I'm a free agent. If you have any good plan, if you have any, what do you want to do this weekend? I'm open, because I don't need anything. On the other hand, the Creator is in trouble all the time. Wherever you turn, He needs From everything he created, he needs something. That's why he created it. So there is nothing in the universe, anywhere in the universe, physical, mineral, vegetable, animal, human, angel, every one of them God needs. So he gathered us at Mount Sinai and said, I can't do this by myself. I need you. And we said, well, hey, I got nothing to do. Just got out of slavery, walking around in the desert. Sure, if you have something you need, I'm available. In fact, thank you so much, because otherwise I don't know what I would do. So the biggest favor, the biggest blessing that God gave us is to tell us what he needs. So it boils down to one thing, and then let's discuss this a little bit. A human being has only one need. One legitimate need. Tell me what you need me for. That's all. It's not who loves me. I don't need love. Yeah. Don't look at me like that. I don't need love. My mother loved me, and that's all I'm going to get. And if my mother didn't love me, well, that's all I'm going to get. I don't need love. It's a lie. It's a lie. I need to be needed. So I got to tell you this quick story. Guy calls me. You get a lot of interesting phone calls. This one guy calls me. He says, hi, I don't want to give you my name. I know this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. I don't want to give you my name, okay? I live in a small town in Oregon, okay? I'm a retired psychiatrist. I was born Jewish, but for the last 30 years, I've been practicing Christianity. But as I'm getting older, I feel like I should connect to my people. But there are no Jews here in this town. What can I do to feel connected to my people? So predictably, of course, I said, get a pair of tefillin, and you'll put them on in the morning, and you'll feel connected to your people. He says, oh, I can't do that. Every time I try to do something Jewish, I've had a bad experience. What would you say after that? I said, look, nobody's Jewish because it's been a good experience. Has not been a good experience. Nobody ever said, since I started putting on tefillin, I've been making money. Nobody. So when you do what God needs from a Jew, you feel like a Jew. When you do what God needs from a non-Jew, you feel like a non-Jew. He says, God needs. Oh, I never heard of that. Now we're talking theology. And this is getting just too weird. So impatiently, I said, look, God is infinite, right? He says, yeah. I said, he's infinitely knowing, yeah. Infinitely kind, yeah. Infinitely patient, yes. Infinitely strong, yeah. So he must also be infinitely vulnerable. So he starts to laugh. He says, God is vulnerable? God is almighty. So remember, he's a retired psychiatrist. So I said, doctor, are you suggesting that vulnerability is a weakness? Oh, yeah. Right for the jugular. Anyway, he gets really flustered and he hangs up the phone. Yeah, that was fun. Anyway, a few days later, I get a phone call. Hi, I don't want to give you my name. Man with no name. Where do I get tefillin? So I said, why all of a sudden? He says, because I can't accept the message of Christianity, I can't. I said, after 30 years? He says, my profession doesn't allow me to do this. I said, you've been doing it for 30 years. What happened? He says, let me explain it. We know, we in our profession, we know that if a man, for example, would say to a woman, I love you very much, more than anything else in the whole world, oh, you're not interested? Your loss. No cost to me. We know that when he claimed to love her, it was not love, it was manipulation. Why? There is no love without vulnerability. That's a strong statement. There is no love without vulnerability. If it costs you nothing, then it's worth nothing. And so he says, Christianity tells me that God loves me very much. But if I'm not interested, I just go to hell forever and it's all over. God is not vulnerable. Well, then he doesn't love me. There is no love without vulnerability. Or in different words, God doesn't love what he doesn't need. So we are very much needed. In fact, we were created out of need. As a result, we have only one quest in life, and that is, what am I needed for? And that motivates everything. It's a whole new world now. What does God need of me today, as I am? He needs me to be male? Fine with me. Needs me to be female? Fine with me. I'm not particular. I have no need. So whatever he needs is fine with me. He says, eat beef, don't eat pork. I don't care, just give me something to eat. Imagine somebody saying, beef? Oh, God, I can't eat beef. Only pork. Lighten up. To you, it makes absolutely no difference. Lighten up. Makes a difference to him. That's all. That's all. Once I get into the mode, I am here to serve, I have become an indestructibly productive human being. There is nothing better, there is nothing truer, there is nothing greater, there is nothing else you possibly could need. If I know what is needed from me, I have no further questions, and nothing can stop me. That has been the secret to Jewish survival. The reason we are still here and still Jewish is because before we entered the promised land the first time, remember what Moshe said to us? Of course you don't, but it's written down. Moshe said to the Jewish people before they crossed the Jordan, he said, I'm not going with you, but here's what I need to tell you. You're going to come to the land of milk and honey. It's going to be nice for about a weekend. As soon as you get comfortable, you're going to get thrown out. You're going to be scattered to the four corners of the earth. You're going to be reduced to a fraction of your number. You're going to be living in other people's countries where you will not be welcome. You will be tortured. You will be killed. You will be chased. You will be hounded. You won't know in the morning what the night will bring. You don't know at night what the morning will bring. It's going to be horrendous. That's a nice pep talk. So we said, so what are we supposed to be doing? He said, what I'm telling you is your needs will not be met. So forget about it. Focus on what you're needed for, and you will live forever. The rest of the Torah tells us we messed up. God said, no, you're messing up. Straighten up, fly right. So we straightened up. Didn't last long, we messed up again. God said, come on, get it right. It always ended with, get it right. So no matter how bad, no matter how far we've strayed, no matter how messed up we become, God says, come on. It's not about you, it's about me. Give it another shot. I am not giving up. Don't give up on me. That's the story of the Torah. That's the story of the Jewish people. It's the story of history. We can now actually make the world perfect. What does it take? What would it take to make the world perfect? Well, consider this. Stop lying. You don't need. The Rebbe taught us there's so many different ways. Stop a Jew in the street and ask him to put on tefillin. Stop him. Excuse me, would you like to put on tefillin? I don't need this. Oh, that's great. Finally, a person who doesn't need. Great, so you don't need to put on tefillin. Good, let's do it. Because if you needed it, I'm not interested. You need to call your mother, so go find a phone. Oh, your mother needs you to call? Hey, I'll help you out. If you're being noble, I'll be noble with you. You're just doing what you need? I'll go do what I need. You want to make the world perfect? It's not mystical. It's not otherworldly. We're not going to heaven. Give it up. There's no point in going to heaven. Heaven doesn't need you. Earth needs you. God needs you. He needs you in a million different little ways that are all doable immediately. Realistic, doable. If I could get rid of my hang-up of this incredible self-induced hypnotic state where I just feel needs all the time. I need to do this. I need to put on tefillin. Stop it. Stop it. You're hurting yourself. You're not allowed to be cruel to animals, including yourself. You don't need. You don't need. But you are so needed. Not just by anybody, by the Creator Himself. Perfect world. Now, if you don't believe in God and you don't believe in the Torah, you better be needy and suffer, because without that, you'll have nothing. That's why secular people have a very hard time with this concept. What do you mean I don't need? That's fatalistic. That's nihilistic. That's suicidal. If my needs are not important, it's all over. Very sad. To be needed is so much more pleasant. I mean, think about it. If you're home alone and you have to eat lunch, what are you going to do? If there isn't some leftovers in the fridge, you're just going to skip it. Open a jar, open a can. If there's nothing there, forget it. Too much of a burden, lunch. But a friend calls and says, hey, can I come over for lunch? All of a sudden, it's a party. It is so much more pleasant to do for someone else than to do for ourselves. It's so real. It's so simple, so obvious. So forget about it. Any suggestion that you have a need, watch out. Somebody is out to get you. Somebody's trying to make you crazy because you don't need. So here's what the Rebbe would quote so often. Ani lo nevresi elo l'shamish es koini. I was not created except to serve my Creator. Remember this. I was not created except to serve my Creator, which means two things. I was not created. For me, do me a favor. Don't create me. I don't need this. So, ani lo nevresi. The I monster, the me monster, not created. Never happened. Elo, but I am here. Well, that's because my Creator needs me. What does He need from me? Ever hear of the Ten Commandments? Ever hear of the Bible? Ever hear of the good book? Ever hear of the Torah? God came down to Mount Sinai and said, here's what I need. What can you do for me? And that's what we've been doing for 3,334 years. Whatever He needed. And because of it, all the ancient nations are gone. We're still here. Because they were taking care of their needs. They died from depression. We were busy taking care of God's needs and kind of neglected our own needs. And here we are. Still making trouble.
If you like that video, hit the subscribe button and notification bell below for hours of the best Jewish content online.